Hi there, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to do a quick filled key fob, and in the previous videos I kind of had to do a workaround, but now that the applique has been set, we can actually do it. So I'm super excited. I'm going to go ahead and go into Paint. If you don't already know, Paint is, you go into your All Programs and you look for Accessories. If you have a newer computer, you can just search for it, or actually any of them you can just search for, but I always just go into my programs. But I put it down here on my toolbar so that it's easy for me to get to all the stuff that I love. Okay, so I open up Paint, and the reason that I open it up in Paint instead of SewWhatPro is because I'm comfortable with Paint. I know how it works, you know, something I've been using since I was a little kid. SewWhatPro is a little bit different, and I'm sure with some more messing around I can figure out how to do it in there. But right now, for ease, I'm just going to stick with Paint. So one of the things that people have trouble with is doing a fill stitch inside of a felty or inside of a key fob or something like that. So that's what we're going to do today. I was going to do a little square, but I think I'm going to do a little circle because I want to do a horse. So it doesn't matter how big you make it in Paint because we're going to resize it. But the bigger you make it and the more colors that you have, the harder it's going to be to convert it into the SewWhatPro software. So, you know, try to keep it simple. It's really fun getting to digitize your own stuff, but it's frustrating when you try to do something really detailed as your first few tries, you know. So that's just my advice. You can take whatever you want from that. Okay, so this is our tab, and we can get it on there, set it up. And something that I've learned that helps the centerline tool a little bit better is if you, in a place like this where it doesn't really know what to follow, you can erase a little bit. That way, it'll do this, you know, it'll start probably right up here and it'll go down there and it'll do that. It'll sew in there and then it'll jump back and sew down here all in one line. Sometimes it causes a little bit of confusion whenever that line is closed because it doesn't know really where to go. Sorry about my voice today. Okay, so we've got our basic shape down. Okay, so let's go on the internet, or if you have your own graphics, which is really awesome, we're just going to take it and we're going to put it in here, and I'll show you how. So let's go to the internet as soon as it opens for me. I think my computer needs to update, so it's being so slow. Okay, here we go. Alright, so I want to do a horse silhouette. Image. Oh, they're all so cute. Oh, that's a good one that would fit in a circle really nicely. And it has, I'm going to go ahead and pick that because, for two reasons. Because I want to have this image. I like it, and this is for personal use. So I'm going to take it into Paint. Sorry, getting a little distracted. My cats are, again, being crazy. Okay, so copy image, and then we go into Paint and just click paste. It's going to make it huge. Oh, okay, we don't want it to be huge. We want it to fit inside of things. So let's bring it down. And don't worry about the watermark. That's why I picked this one, because the watermark seems frustrating, but it's actually irrelevant. It's pretty awesome. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of pretty centered, but I think, oops, maybe it needs to be a little bit smaller. There we go. So that's not really centered looking because this is in the middle and it should be more over here, but because she has this tail, I want her body to be in the middle more. Assuming it's a girl. Alright, so when we've got it centered in there, we're going to click and drag around, get as close as we can, but still leave a little bit of edge there. We don't want to get too close to the black. We're going to crop, and then we're going to start over on this side and stay close to the edges. Hit crop, and then select all, copy. Oops. So it's not open yet. Okay, then we hit paste. And then we're going to go ahead and check the colors first. In here it shows 139 color changes. That's crazy. So we know better than that. We're going to bring it just down to 2. Then, okay, usually it doesn't do that little spotty thing. So let's posterize it first. Kind of changes the look of the horse a little bit, but that's okay. That brought it down to 12 colors. Now we're going to bring it down to 2. Okay, so from there we can crop, but we don't need to. And we're going to resize image. We want the height to be the maximum height for your 4x4 hoop. If you have, sorry, I have a 4x4 hoop, so the maximum is 95. I think it's actually 100, but that's kind of playing with fire because sometimes they come through as full files, and sometimes, you know, it'll show up on your machine, but you won't get the actual file. It'll show that there's something there, but it's too much. So, okay, so now that we've resized it, we're going to come all the way over here to the stitch image, and we're going to click Applique Center Line first. We're going to do this because, and we want to choose beam. We want the height, which is actually the separation, and we want the length to be probably 30. Okay, and then we're going to click right up here, and it's going to show you, it'll show you how good it went around. So if you just click on the color over on the right, you can see the outline of where it's going to sew. And you can't see here, but there are 3 layers. There's 3 steps that are going to happen. So you put down, first you put your hoop in there, and you have your stabilizer, and then the stabilizer acts as, you know, a fabric kind of something that it can draw on. I don't know how to explain it, but it puts a die line down, which basically shows you where to put your fabric. So you put the die line down, the fabric goes down, then there's a tack down. And the tack down is going to be another running stitch, and it's just going to tack down your fabric. And normally in applique, the tack down is where you're going to cut it out, but because we're doing a key fob where everything is going to be sandwiched together and then cut out, we don't need to worry about doing that after the second step. So it's going to have, you know, one step is the tack down, or the die line. Second step is the tack down. The third step is going to be the final stitch, and we're going to skip that when it stitches out because we want to go in and do a fill of the horse. So let's just fill our horsey. Go over here, make sure it looks pretty nice. Okay, close menu. And if you ever mess up, you can just go over here and click delete color, and then it would just print out that, sew out that. Okay, but we do want our horsey filled. Okay, so when we put this into the machine and we're doing it, it's going to have the die line, then it's going to have the tack down stitch after you put down your fabric. And then you're going to want to skip forward on your machine to step 4, which is the fill for the horse. And you want to do this because the final stitch, and then you're going to skip back to number 3, put your bottom fabric on so it covers up all the backing of the horse. Covers up the bobbin stitch, you know, all the white frayed and different color, or I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of crazy down there. So you're going to cover that up, and then the final stitch, you're going to go back to your number 3, and you're going to do the final stitch, and it's going to sew both pieces together with the stabilizer in the middle. And then you're going to pop it out and cut around it so it looks really nice. I hope all of that made sense. Alright, so after this we're going to hit File, Save As, and you can save a picture. I'm not going to. And then you can save it into a folder and then open it up again and put it into your thing. But I'm just going straight into my removable disc, which is my machine. And I'm going to go horse bob, fill. Okay, and save. Okay, and then we get this little stitch out over here. And I'm going to go stitch it out. I'll see you guys in a second. Thank you. Okay, so here's the die line. This is going to be step number 1. And then step number 2, first you're going to lay down your fabric and then hit step number 2. That's going to be your tack down. And usually we would cut, but we're not going to. Then you're going to skip forward to step number 4. And step number 4, we'll stitch out this cute little horsey. You'll have to do some trimming. Then we're going to skip back to step number 3. And that's what it looks like on the back. So while it's still in the hoop, we're going to spray it with a little bit of spray adhesive and just enough to tack down this little piece. This is a great way to use up your scraps. So here it is all stitched out, front and back, so it's sandwiched together. Here's the back part, and you just trim off these little pieces. And there you go. I'm not the best cutter in the world, but you get the idea. So there's all your stuff, and there's your back part all covered up. Nice and neat.